Minister, I'm very disappointed that neither the Minister for Justice or the Minister for Education are here today. The whole situation of the procurement of hotels, I know you have responsibility for procurement, you might be able to answer me, of hotels right through the country, but especially in Tipperary. When I take Racket Hall in Roscrea, when I take Dundrum House Hotel, a landmark and a beacon of our tourism industry, and now Kilcorn Hotel, a beautiful Kilcorn Lodge Hotel in operation for over 125 years. Wonderful staff there as well, and I empathise and sympathise with them. And Heron's Hotel in Clonmel, Charles Brown County fame, our first transport system, right through the heart of Tipperary. Hotels for tourism. We have 25%, I think, reduction in tourism figures and visitors in January. We have 30% in February. If this is not alarming to you and to the government, it's shocking. And I can't understand for the life of me why this has been moved from the Department of Integration, which I welcome, to the Department of Justice. And Minister O'Callaghan hasn't seen sight of it yet. Neither has Minister Colin Brophy, and I thank both of them for engaging with me. And now I have a topic today, and the Minister for Education, where it rests at the moment, is not here either. This is a shocking indictment on a democratic process here in Dáil and accountability. That none of you are here, and you're coming in here as Junior Minister, no disrespect to you, I wish you well, but this is not good enough for this to happen. And the only area you have is procurement, I know. Kilcorn Hotel, like, as we said, the subterfuge has been played there with shady owners, and we don't know who owns it, but now we found out the genie's out of the bottle because they have applied for Section 5 to Tipperary County Council, and the owners have been fleshed out. But we know who they are, we know what they are, we know what they want is a quick buck, not interested in the community. Kilcorn Hotel, like Dundrum House Hotel, has been home for so many christenings, so many first communions, confirmations. Indeed, Minister Brophy tells me that he was a page boy at a wedding for his late uncle and his aunt was still alive in Athlin, the O'Brien family, when he was a Buchel Oak in Kilcorn. Dundrum, the Crow family, is a magnificent resource, which is riddled with court cases at the moment. It was a hearing yesterday by the receiver. And so a shady owner there, to put it mildly, has that as well. It's been contested, and the winnings from America who own it are trying to get him out of the place. So the community is unable for this. There's no GP services. There are no transport services. Kilcorn is about 6 miles from Cahir, and the parish of Ballinooby, a wonderful beacon, as I said, great staff, and just off the motorway. Great location to improve our potential for visitor numbers to Tipperary, and the fear fault of the Tipperary people for anyone who comes wherever they're from. We're not anti-migration either, but to do this is reckless in the extreme. To take businesses that are long-standing, given employment, given a valuable resource to the county and to all who come there to visit, and to do this and take it over like this, and with no consultation. I've had some engagement from Evelyn Byrne from the engagement team, but there's no consultation. And this is a situation of, and you're in procurement, of telling the public representatives after a contract is signed is nothing short of scandalous blackguarding and indeed a disrespect for elected representatives who are trying to deal with the community. So the communities that there are good people. In Dundrum as well, as I said, they have been at the gates now for 225 days, I think, or more. And they are standing there with a peaceful protest, not anti, and as I said to people who are there, the Ukrainians were integrated and working. Now you're turning that into an IPAS centre. This is reckless, I said, endangerment of an industry, reckless endangerment of communities. You have it in your own documentation that you can't change demographics by more than 5% in an area with an IPAS centre. Dundrum has been changed by 125% because there's 220 people and the last census in the village, and you're putting in over 280. Kilcorn is something similar. A rural parish, rural area, great community, great people. Where's the spirit of the Gael in Athlin? If we're trying to do this dividing you are doing here, and this is not fair either to the people who go in there. No transport, no GP services, nothing else. So, Minister, I hope you have a good answer for me here today, because the people want answers of me, and I'm looking for the answers of you.
Minister.
Minister, much of what you read out to me there in that reply is simply untrue, because Dundrum and the Dundrum House Hotel, the famous Crow family, for generations, and that hotel was the only hotel, not only in Dundrum village, but in the whole West Tipperary community. So that turns on its head what your department policy is. Kilcorn is operating. We have the wonderful Care House Hotel in Cahir, operated by Robert and indeed Robert and David, two co-owners, doing a great service. And they've often told me as well, they could make a lot more money for this. The Fact is, you're paying too much per night per person for this. It's so lucrative that unsavoury individuals are just exploiting it and exploiting the people to come in there. You mentioned transport then. People can't get transport in Kilcorn and Ballaloobie from the TA5, but yet you're prepared to put on a public transport service for the IPAS people. That is absolute discrimination against Irish people of my South Tipperary. And I want to know why there's such an attack on Tipperary. We did play our part in the War of Independence, a huge part in the first shots fired in the War of Independence. And indeed, here we are now. All our hotels right through a vein to the middle of the county been taken up. And department subterfuge. And the biggest farce of all is now we're 120 days after the government formed and we still haven't the minister in charge of it. The Minister of Education doesn't want anything to do with it. She's not even here this morning. It's in her lap at the moment, but it's meant to be transposed to the Department of Justice. And I do welcome Jim O'Callaghan and his comments and his actions so far, and the fact that up to 81% of IPAS applications this year are being refused. And I welcome that, because we were like blindfolded before this. Our borders were like sieves. But this messing around with it, I was delighted with the way from Roger O'Gorman's department, but now that is a no man's land. And you have unsavoury individuals exploiting this situation, and you have Evelyn Brunn and her team doing her best to engage with us, but engagement after the fact is not acceptable in a democratic society. There must be engagement, and politicians, local councils and ourselves must be consulted. How are we going to explain to the people if we don't know, and this kind of subterfuge ourselves going on, and the deceit and you know, the shady deals have been done with people who are unsavoury characters in both hotels I'm talking about here, and that's putting it mildly. Thank you.
Minister.